My name is Evan Miller. I'm 28, and 3 months ago, I took the night shift job at a small gas station off Highway 47 Inches, Nebraska. The kind of place that only exists for truckers, lost travelers, and people who desperately need caffeine at 3 a.m. It's isolated. No houses. No motels. Just endless flat land and a wind that never seems to stop blowing. People in town told me nobody lasts long working the graveyard shift there. The manager, an older guy named Reed, said the same thing when he hired me. "You sure you want the night shift? Most guys quit after a week. They say it's too quiet out there." I remember laughing. I grew up in the Midwest. Empty roads and quiet fields don't scare me. But what happens at that gas station isn't normal. My shift runs from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. I'm completely alone during those hours. There's a tiny building with a register, a bathroom, a few aisles of snacks, and 4 pumps outside. That's it. At night, the place feels like it's sitting at the edge of the world. You'd think being alone out there would mean real silence, just the hum of the lights and the occasional gust of wind. But it's not silent. Some nights I hear footsteps on the gravel outside. Slow ones. Crunching, circling the pumps. When I check the cameras, nothing. Other nights, I hear faint knocking on the glass door even though the chime never goes off, or the noise of something sliding across the floor in the stockroom when I know for a fact I locked it. I kept blaming it on the wind, on the building settling, on long hours and little sleep. But the truckers who stop by know something I don't. A driver named Clay, who drops by for coffee around 1 or 2 a.m. every week, once told me, "If you hear someone calling your name out here, don't answer. Doesn't matter who it sounds like." I asked him why. He didn't blink when he said, "Because if you answer, they keep coming back." I thought he was messing with me. But now, I know he wasn't. Everything went wrong on my 10th shift. It was pouring the kind of hard Midwest rain that sounds like gravel hitting the roof. The wind cut across the empty field so strong it made the big station sign creak like an old swing set. Around 1:05 a.m., headlights appeared down the road. A slow-moving car, barely visible in the rain. It pulled into Pump 3. A silver Honda Odyssey. Older model, headlights dim. No rear plates. Nobody got out. At first, I assumed they were waiting for the rain to lighten. After 2 minutes, I grabbed the umbrella and stepped out to help. When I got close to the driver's side window, my stomach dropped. The window was cracked open about an inch. Inside, it was pitch black. But I could see a man sitting there completely still. "Hey, you need gas?" I called. No answer. I took a step closer. I could barely make out his face, shadowed by the darkness inside the car. "Sir, you okay?" The man slowly turned his head toward me. Very slowly. Too slowly. And then he opened his mouth. No sound came out. His jaw just hung open, unnaturally wide, like something was pulling it. I stumbled back. The man's head snapped forward again, fast, jerky, like a glitching frame in a video. Then, without him touching anything, the window rolled up, and the van glided away. Not drove, not accelerated. Glided like it wasn't using the engine at all. It disappeared into the rain. I've never felt cold like that night, not from the weather, but from something deeper, something wrong. By the time 3 a.m. hit, I convinced myself the guy was sick, drunk, or messed up on something. But at 3:12 a.m., I heard that same low engine sound. I stood up so fast, I knocked over my chair. The silver Odyssey was coming back. Same speed, same angle, same steady roll through the rain. It stopped at pump 3 again. Not an inch off from earlier, like the car had locked coordinates. The driver's window was cracked open the exact same amount. But this time, there was a voice. A weak, rasping whisper. Hey. The sound didn't come from inside the car. It came from all around me, like someone whispering right behind my ear. Come. Here. My skin crawled. Closer. I heard drips inside the car. Not rain on the roof inside the cabin. Water dripping onto fabric seats. Come. Here. I took a step back. That's when the driver's door swung open. A pale arm slid out into the rain. But the hand was missing. Cut clean off at the wrist. White bone and gray flesh visible in the headlights. I swear my heart stopped. I ran back into the store, slammed the door, and locked it. And I waited, shaking, listening. When I finally looked again, the van was gone. No engine, no lights, no tire marks, nothing. Trying to calm myself, I opened the drawer under the register to grab the incident log. My fingers knocked against something soft, a small black notebook. I pulled it out. Dusty, worn. A name on the inside cover. Property of Daniel Whitman Night Shift, 2019. I'd never heard of a Daniel working here. Never seen him in training logs. I flipped it open. The first few pages were normal entries. Boring customers. Slow nights. Broken coffee machines. But then the tone changed. The 4th of March 2019. Silver Odyssey showed up again. 3rd time this week. Driver never gets out. March 7. Heavy rain. Van came back twice. 2nd time, I checked inside. Driver's seat was empty. Door was open. March 10. Heard someone whispering outside the booth. Sounded like they knew my name. March 12. Reed told me, whatever you do, don't answer. If you answer, it'll keep coming. March 15. If someone finds this notebook, don't look inside the van. Don't go near it. No matter what it says. The last page was scribbled so aggressively it nearly ripped. It saw me. I shut the notebook immediately. Daniel never quit. He disappeared. I never knew that part until later. When I looked at the clock, it read 3:33 a.m. Of course it did. The lights flickered. The wind howled hard enough to rattle the glass. Then, tap, tap, tap. Knuckles on the front door. I hesitated before looking. Big mistake. There was no one there. Just the wet pavement and the hum of the fluorescent lights. Tap, tap, tap. This time it came from the left window. I whipped my head around again. No one. But I swear, I could hear breathing. Slow, wet, right beside the glass. A whisper leaked in through the rain. The same weak, broken voice from the van. Open the door. My throat tightened. I'm cold. I backed away from the door. My hands were shaking. Open it, please. Then I heard it. Click. The lock. The lock was turning. On its own, the door handle twitched and began to push inward. Something outside was coming in. I stood there in the break room doorway, staring at that Polaroid like it was something radioactive. My hands were sweating so badly the picture almost slipped from my fingers. Pump 4, 2:13 a.m. A man in the exact same clothes that stranger outside had been wearing. Except this photo was from 2 nights ago.
I walked back out to the register, heart pounding in my neck. The store felt different, emptier, colder, like the hum of the fluorescent lights had gotten quieter somehow. I picked up the store phone and dialed Marcus again. He answered on the first ring. "Yeah," he said, groggy. "Marcus, did you leave a note for me?" My voice cracked. "A Polaroid from 2 days ago?" "What? Man, what are you talking about?" "The photo on the counter," I said, "and the note, 'Always check pump 4.'" Marcus was quiet for several seconds. Then he said, "David, I didn't leave any notes. I haven't been back to that station since Saturday." I swallowed. "But the picture." "Listen," he cut in, voice dropping lower. "What's going on over there?" I didn't know how to explain it without sounding insane. The man outside, the synchronized chirp, the photo, that strange pressure in my skull just before it all happened. Instead, I said only, "Something's wrong." He sighed. "I warned you that place was weird. I thought you were messing with me." "I wasn't," he said. "Just finish your shift. Don't go out there for anything unless you have to." Easy for him to say. The phone line suddenly crackled loud static, like someone had brushed a microphone over sandpaper. Marcus's voice faded out, then snapped back. "You hear me?" "Yeah," I said, though my skin was crawling. I hung up and glanced toward the windows again. Pump 4 was empty. The man was gone. But the pump handle was swinging, slowly, as if someone had just let go of it a second earlier. The little metal lever tapped the side of the pump with a soft, rhythmic clink, clink, clink. I couldn't look away. Then, the front door chimed. Ding! A man walked in, and my stomach dropped. Because he was wearing a uniform. Police, sheriff's department, mid-50 seconds, gray at the temples, heavy boots. But it wasn't the uniform that scared me. It was his face. He looked exactly like the man at Pump 4. Same height, same bone structure, same eyes. But not identical in a twin way. More like an older version of him. Like I was looking at the same man twice years apart. "Evenin'," he said, brushing rain off his shoulders. Except it wasn't raining. It hadn't been raining all night. "Evening," I said, trying to play it cool. "Everything all right, officer?" He studied me for a long moment. Too long. His eyes traveled to the windows behind me, specifically to Pump 4. "You working alone tonight?" he asked. "Yes, sir." Another pause. "You've seen anyone out there?" He said it like he already knew the answer. And not in a friendly, small-town way. In a way that made my skin crawl. "I think someone was at Pump 4 earlier," I said. "Describe him." I hesitated. Every instinct told me not to. Tall, maybe 6 feet, dark jacket, jeans. Didn't say anything. The officer's jaw tightened. "Did he come inside?" "No." He nodded slowly, eyes still fixed on the pump. "That pump's a magnet for trouble," he muttered, almost to himself. I felt my fingers go numb. "Sir, what do you mean?" He didn't answer. He started walking toward the door again. "Lock up for 10 minutes," he said. "I'm gonna look around." Before I could respond, he stepped outside, and the instant the door closed behind him, The lights in the station flickered. Just once. But long enough for every aisle, every surface, every window to melt into black for a half second. When the lights came back on, I rushed to the window. The officer was standing at pump 4. Not moving. Just standing there. Facing the pump. Hands at his sides. The way he stood, it was wrong. His shoulders were too rigid. His posture too stiff. Then he slowly turned his head, not his body, just his head toward the store. His face was blank. Emotionless. Like he wasn't even in there anymore. My breath fogged the glass. Something in my gut screamed run. Suddenly, beep. The cash register screen lit up. A transaction was starting. Except nobody was touching it. On the screen appeared, Pump 4, authorized. My legs nearly gave out. Someone, or something, had activated the pump. Outside, the officer turned back to the pump and lifted the handle. I swear to God, I swear his movements were jerky, puppet-like, as if strings were pulling him. I tried to back away from the window, and the store lights blacked out completely. Total darkness. Something touched the glass. A slow, dragging fingertip. Then a whisper, right next to the window, right next to my face. "You didn't check pump 4. I stood frozen in the darkness of the store, my heart hammering so hard I thought it might burst out of my chest. My hands were slick with sweat, still shaking from touching the glass moments before, and the worst part, I didn't dare look outside. The front door rattled lightly. A soft click, the lock turning on its own. I knew there was no avoiding whatever was out there. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself, and stepped outside. The rain had stopped. The highway was empty, lit only by the yellow glow of the station lights. And at pump 4, I saw it. Not one, but 2 vehicles. The silver Odyssey, the same one I'd seen before, and a beat-up old truck, license plate missing, parked right next to it. No one was inside either vehicle, but I knew with a certainty that someone or something was there. A whisper came from pump 4. "Close. Too close. Evan, come." I jumped and spun around. No one. That was when I realized this wasn't human. It knew my name. It knew where I was. And it was testing me. I stumbled backward, almost tripping, and retreated to the store window. I didn't dare leave the cabin. I bolted the door, locked every lock, and sank to the floor. Even inside, I wasn't safe. Footsteps echoed around the store, numerous, but I couldn't identify their source. Each step ticked in rhythm, like a clock measuring my fear, counting the seconds until it reached me. I grabbed the old security monitor and turned it on, hoping to catch something. The screen flickered and displayed something impossible. A figure stood behind the Odyssey. Its body was distorted, limbs elongated unnaturally. Every time I looked directly, it vanished, but the camera recorded it. I remembered Daniel Whitman's notebook. The last line, "It saw me." I understood now. Whatever I faced, it had seen me. Minutes passed. The vehicles disappeared. No footsteps, no whispering. Only me, trembling in the cabin, heart hammering like a drum. I didn't leave. I didn't dare check pump 4. All I knew, tonight I survived. But I hadn't won. The next morning, when Reed arrived to open the station, he didn't ask questions. He only said, "Night shifts are like that. Nobody explains it, and nobody should try. Just finish your shift, leave, and never look back." He glanced at me briefly, eyes serious, then walked into the office. No other words. I didn't quit, not immediately. I still needed the money. I still worked the night shift. But I kept my eyes on pump 4. I never saw the Odyssey or that man again on camera. It only appeared when I wasn't looking directly. And I know any night could be the next night it returns. Waiting, whispering my name, watching me.
My name is Jake Reynolds, and I work the night shift at Garage 9, a multi-level parking structure in downtown Chicago. Most people think parking garages are boring. Most people are wrong. I started this job because I needed cash and the hours were perfect for my schedule. The shift runs from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., and I'm the only person on duty. My office is a small room near the elevator on the 3rd floor, equipped with security monitors and a radio. From there, I can watch the cameras across the entire building, or so I thought. On my first night, the place felt like any other garage, echoing footsteps. Cars pulling in and out, the smell of asphalt and exhaust. But by 1 a.m., it changed. The garage becomes different when the building empties out. At first, it's just quiet. Then the quiet becomes heavy, like the air is pressing down on you. I had walked the floors before, checking cameras, and I noticed something. The shadows didn't behave normally. A car would pull in, and its shadow would stretch unnaturally. Sometimes I'd see a figure in a corner far away, dark, blurry, but no car or person was there. I chalked it up to tiredness. I had worked overnight before. Fatigue messes with your brain, but that night, I started noticing patterns. Asterisk, it was 2:14 a.m., and I was scanning the security feeds. One camera showed the 5th floor empty, except for the occasional parked car. Then I noticed it. A man standing by a wall, motionless, near an exit stairwell. I frowned. The stairwell was locked. No employees, no tenants were supposed to be up there. I switched to another camera. The man wasn't there anymore. I clicked back. He was back. Heart rate up. I picked up the radio. "Dispatch, this is Jake. Can anyone confirm anyone on 5th floor near stairwell B?" Silence, then a static-laced reply. "Nope, Jake. That area is clear." I froze. The feed showed the man again. Same posture, dark jacket, jeans, standing completely still. He didn't move. Not a twitch. Not a step, just watching. I checked my watch. 2:16 a.m., then he disappeared. Just like that. I tried to convince myself it was just shadows, reflections, the building settling. But the noises started around 3 a.m. Footsteps. Slow, heavy, coming from above me. But I was on the 3rd floor, alone. No elevators moving. No vehicles, just footsteps. I grabbed the flashlight and left my office, walking carefully toward the stairwell. The echo was deafening. The lights flickered. I reached the top of the stairs. Nothing. No one. Just concrete walls, empty cars, and a faint smell of something. Metallic. Blood? Oil? I couldn't tell. I laughed nervously to myself. Jake, get it together. It's a garage. Empty garages make weird noises, but my hands were shaking. And then, I heard a whisper. It was soft, barely audible, coming from the far end of the 5th floor. Jake. I spun around. Nothing. Just darkness and parked cars. Come closer. I froze. My heart felt like it was going to explode. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. Then the lights flickered again. And in that brief moment of darkness, I saw him. A figure taller than normal, thin, dressed in a dark jacket and jeans, standing right between 2 pillars. His face, I couldn't make out. But I could feel him staring right at me. I ran back to the office and checked the monitors. Nothing. Every camera feed that had shown him now showed only empty concrete floors. No pillars, no figure, no shadows. I leaned closer, my hands trembling. Zoomed in, nothing, but I felt it. I could feel his presence. And then the intercom clicked on by itself. Why aren't you looking? Static, broken words. I slammed the intercom button, but it was dead. Then a notification popped on my monitor. Floor 5 motion DTCT'd. There was no motion. The feed was static. I leaned in, and my stomach dropped. The man was there, right behind a car. No car keys, no doors moving, no reflection, just standing, watching. Asterisk. I grabbed the radio again, tried to call someone. Dispatch. I need static. Only static. I thought about leaving, taking the elevator down. But the elevator doors opened on the 5th floor, and he was standing inside. I backed up slowly. Every step echoed loudly, and then I felt it, a cold breath on the back of my neck. Jake. I whipped around. Empty floor. Just pillars, just shadows. I ran full speed to the stairwell. I didn't look back. My flashlight flickered, and I swear for a second, I saw his shadow moving faster than he should be able to. I reached the 3rd floor and bolted into the office, locking the door. My breathing was ragged. Sweat soaked my shirt. The monitors flickered. And on every screen, he was there, standing still, watching, smiling, or maybe not smiling. I couldn't tell. His face was always just dark. I sank to the floor, and I knew the night wasn't over. I stayed huddled in the office, every muscle trembling. The monitors kept flickering. Each time the image stabilized, he was there standing by a different car, closer, always watching. I thought about calling 911, but how could I explain this? A security guard seeing a shadow man moving impossibly fast, appearing and disappearing at will? Nobody would believe me. So I stayed put, radio in hand, trying to think. The building felt alive. The concrete walls, the metal railings, they seemed to pulse. Every sound was amplified. Dripping water, my heartbeat, distant hum of the ventilation system. Asterisk. Around 3:47 a.m., I heard the elevator chime. I had turned it off for the night, but the doors slowly slid open on the 5th floor. Empty. I froze. Then the intercom crackled. A voice, distorted and warped, whispered, "Come down." I didn't move. My mind screamed to run, but I couldn't. The voice repeated, closer this time, "Jake." I swallowed hard. Then in a burst of adrenaline, I sprinted down the emergency stairs. Concrete steps rattled beneath my feet. I tried to reach the 1st floor quickly, but when I looked up through the stairwell window, I saw him. He was on every landing at once. Every single landing between the 5th and 1st floor. Same dark jacket, same jeans, same unreadable face. Standing still, watching, waiting, I reached the 1st floor. No one was there. The garage was empty. My flashlight flickered, then died. Total darkness. And then I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, heavy, circling. I ran back toward the office. The door was closed. I didn't lock it when I left. I froze. There were scratches on the metal frame. Deep, long lines. As if someone or something had tried to force it open. My breathing came in ragged gasps. I grabbed the crowbar I kept under the desk, my only weapon, and slowly opened the door. Inside, nothing seemed out of place. But the monitors, all the feeds now displayed him standing right behind me. Even though I was in the room, I spun around, empty. Jake, the whisper was in my ear, low, wet, and chilling. I ran again toward the exit. I had to get out. I had to leave this place. As I approached the stairwell to the exit, I heard the faint hum of a car engine. But the garage was empty. Then a shadow flickered across the wall. Not from me, not from a car, just a shadow that moved independently. I broke into a run. Concrete walls echoed my footsteps. I felt hot breath on the back of my neck again. Don't leave. I sprinted to the garage exit. The sliding doors at street level. They were slowly opening. No one was outside. But I could feel it. Standing just beyond the threshold, a gust of cold wind hit me as I stepped out, and then nothing. The garage was quiet, empty, just streetlights and distant traffic. I didn't stop running until I reached my car. My hands shook violently as I fumbled with the keys. I drove away without looking back. I didn't go back for a week. When I finally returned, I tried to act normal, but everything had changed. The 5th floor was always too quiet. Shadows seemed longer than they should be. Motion detectors sometimes triggered with no cars or people present. I started keeping a journal. I needed a record in case something escalated. Entry: the 12th of October 2025. He's still there. I can feel him. Cameras don't show him, radios don't pick him up. But he's there, waiting, watching. I realized something horrifying. It only comes when I'm alone. Every night shift since then. I've learned to avoid the 5th floor after 3 a.m. I don't go near the stairwells. I don't answer whispers. But sometimes, when I pass by pump 4, or in this case, near any quiet corner of the garage, I swear I hear Jake, and I know he's watching. I resigned from Garage 9 eventually. I couldn't keep living with that constant presence. But the story doesn't end there. Security reports from the garage, months later, show movement on empty floors, cameras capturing figures that weren't there. Guards swear they hear whispers, footsteps, and sometimes a faint laughter. I left Chicago. I moved. I tried to forget, but every night, in quiet moments, I remember the whisper, the shadow, the watcher in Garage 9. And I know one day he will find someone else, and he will start again. My name is Liam Carter, and I work the night shift at Quick Mart, a 24/7 convenience store in a small suburban town in Ohio. I usually cover the hours, from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. alone, which means I see the weirdest people at the strangest hours. Most nights, the store is quiet. Just a few late-night customers, a delivery truck sometimes, and the hum of the fluorescent lights. But some nights, things feel off, almost alive. I started noticing it about a month into my job. Asterisk, it's not the normal creaky floorboards, kind of quiet. It's heavier. It's like the air itself watches you. I'd be stacking shelves or cleaning the floor, and I'd hear whispers. At first, I thought it was coworkers on the radio or customers talking outside, but I was alone. The lights flickered occasionally. Nothing major. But every flicker seemed to come exactly when I turned my back, as if something in the store was aware of me. I tried not to think about it. I told myself it was just imagination. Then one night, a man walked in around 2:07 a.m. asterisk. He looked normal at first. Average height, worn jacket, baseball cap low over his face. He walked past the candy aisle, past the chips, and straight to the register where I was counting cash. "Hi," I said, trying to sound friendly. He didn't respond. Just stood there, staring, waiting. I felt a chill. His face was shadowed under the cap, but I could feel his eyes on me. And not in a casual way. In a way that made the hair on my arms rise. I cleared my throat. "Do you need anything?" He finally spoke. His voice was calm, almost whispery. "Do you see them too?" I froze. "What?" "Don't turn around." Before I could respond, he turned slowly and walked toward the back of the store. Not like a normal customer, not like a person walking. His movement was unnervingly smooth. Gliding almost asterisk, I followed at a distance. I had no reason to, but curiosity got the better of me. The moment I turned the corner, I heard faint whispers. Soft overlapping voices coming from every aisle. "Watching. He sees you. Don't look." I spun around. The man was gone. I checked the aisles, the stock rooms, the bathrooms. No one. Then the overhead lights flickered, long and deliberate. And I heard it again. Liam. My stomach dropped. This wasn't just a weird customer. This wasn't just my imagination. Something was in the store, moving around, playing with me. Asterisk, I ran to the office and checked the security monitors. Every camera feed showed empty aisles. Nothing, but I felt him. Near me, watching me. Breathing maybe. Then I noticed it. His shadow on the floor, long dark, stretching across the linoleum. But no figure appeared on camera. I tried calling the manager. The line was dead. Just static. "Don't run." The voice whispered, cold, close, right next to my ear. I spun around. Nothing, but the shadow moved. Towards me. Faster now. Asterisk, I ran to the front door. Locked, of course. Standard procedure at night. I tried the emergency exit. Also locked. I ran back to the stockroom. Maybe I could hide. Maybe I could wait. And then I heard it. A knock. Soft, deliberate, 3 knocks. The voice whispered again. "Open, for me." I shook my head. My hands trembled. "Please." I realized something terrifying. It didn't need a door. It could enter anywhere, appear anywhere, watch me even when I was alone. I grabbed a broom, anything to defend myself. But the moment I stepped out, the man was right there. His cap low, face in shadow, just standing, watching, smiling, or maybe not smiling. I couldn't tell. Asterisk, I backed into the office, locked every door, and called 911. By the time they arrived, the man was gone. No trace, no explanation. Just an empty store, and me shaking in the corner. I've gone back every night since. Sometimes I think I see him in the aisles. Sometimes the lights flicker exactly when I turn my back. And every night I hear whispers. Watching. He sees you. Don't look. I didn't sleep that night. Not a wink. Every shadow in my apartment felt like it was moving. Every sound, the hum of the refrigerator, the creak of the ceiling fan felt deliberate, like someone was watching me even here. I told myself it was over. The police said there was no evidence, no suspicious persons, nothing unusual caught on camera. But I knew better. I had felt him. I had heard him. I went back to Quick Mart the next night. I had no choice. I needed the money. At first, nothing seemed wrong. No strange shadows, no whispering. The store smelled like coffee and cleaning supplies. Then, around 1:55 a.m., I heard it again. A faint shuffle in the snack aisle. I froze. Liam. The whisper came from behind me. I spun around. Empty aisle. Then I saw movement on the monitor. A figure appeared, gliding between the shelves. The camera should have picked him up, but the feed was grainy, glitchy, making it hard to see. I grabbed my flashlight, swept the aisles slowly, nothing. But I could feel him. I walked to the candy aisle, nothing. Then I saw a shadow at the end of the aisle. Tall, thin, standing perfectly still, baseball cap low over his face. The same man. Why do you hide? His voice, whispering, direct, ice cold. I took a step back. My flashlight flickered. The shadow moved closer. I tried to call 911. My phone didn't work, signal dead. You're mine now. I ran toward the back room. Maybe I could barricade myself. Maybe I could escape. The stockroom door creaked open slowly. He was already there. I backed into the corner, heart racing. He didn't move, didn't speak, just watched. Look at me. I shook my head. My breath came in short, harsh gasps. You know I'm always here. The fluorescent lights above flickered violently. And I realized he wasn't just moving through the store. He controlled it. Shadows stretching, lights flickering, aisles bending in impossible ways. I thought about running. But the moment I stepped toward the office, I felt a cold pressure on my back. Heavy, like someone had pressed a hand into my shoulder. I turned around, empty. Why do you run? I screamed. My voice echoed through the empty store. He laughed, or maybe it was just a sound like broken glass. By 3:30 a.m., I was convinced I was going insane. Every monitor showed a different version of him. On one screen, he stood by the magazine rack. On another, he crouched near the freezer. On another, he was directly behind me, though I was sitting in the office. I knew then, he could appear anywhere, anytime, even in cameras, even behind glass, even when I wasn't looking directly. I grabbed my crowbar, flashlight in hand, and ran toward the main aisle. Don't leave me, the whisper followed. Cold, wet, echoing. I sprinted toward the front door. Locked. Emergency exit? Locked. Every possible escape route blocked or under his control. I realized he had trapped me. I turned, bracing myself, ready to face him. He was there, in the aisle. Same cap, same shadowed face, watching, smiling, or maybe not. Impossible to tell. I raised the crowbar. My hands shook violently. You can't stop me. And then, a voice came over the radio. My manager calling from home. Liam, you okay? I shouted, he's here. There's someone in the store. You don't understand. Static, then silence. The shadow moved closer, gliding, impossibly fast. I swung the crowbar blindly. Nothing. Empty air. Then I felt it, cold, on my arm, touching me. Finally, I bolted into the back storage room, slammed the door, locked it. My breath came in short gasps. At 6:58 a.m., the first light of dawn filtered through the windows. The shadow vanished. The store returned to normal. I emerged, shaking, exhausted. No evidence. No damage. Nothing. Just the normal smell of coffee, candy, and cleaning supplies. I called in sick the next night, and the next, and the next. But sometimes, when I walk past Quick Mart during the day, I see him, watching from a dark corner, baseball cap low over his face, standing perfectly still, waiting. I know he's still there, and one day, he will come back.